Hi and welcome to another video on the RD250. Hopefully we have sorted out the ignition and the electrics issues. So now I want to turn my attention to the carburetors. Now what's happening at the moment is that the bike will rev really nicely. We'll get a power band at 5.5 to 6.5, but it seems to run out of revs at around 7.25. Red line on this is 8.5, and it just seems rude not to be able to take it to that red line. So we're going to have the carburetors off. We're going to change the main jets because I've actually forgotten what's in there at the moment. We're going to look at the pilot jets, maybe upgrade those by 1 or 2. We're going to change the position of the needles, and then we're going to have a look at balancing the carburetors in terms of the air adjustment screw and the mixture screw. So these are the 130 main jets and the 27.5 pilot jets. These are genuine Mukini parts, and I got them from Carb company in the UK. If you want to check them out, it's motocarb, all one word, .com. So what I'm going to do first is take off the fuel supply to each carburetor. Then I'm going to take off the tops here and get access to the needles. Then I'll take off the oil supply, the air intake rubbers, and then finally undo the Jubilee clip here and wriggle out the carburetor from the mounting. So with the carburetors upside down and the float bowls off, it's a simple 6mm open-ended spanner or ring spanner to take off the main jet, and then a small flathead screwdriver in here to undo the pilot jet, and it just drops out. To access the needle jet, just undo these 2 screws here, and then it will just all tip out, and this is where you adjust the height of the needle by moving that circlip up or down. So here's the carbs reassembled. I found that we were running 140 mains and 27.5 pilots, so I've gone for 150 mains and 30 pilots. I also double checked the float height as well. They've all been reset, and I've moved up the needles by 2 notches, so they're not on the bottom one, they're on 1 up from the bottom. So we'll reassemble and start and see how we get on. Right, the next job is to synchronize the opening and closing of the throttle bodies themselves. So I'm using what is referred to widely on the net as the lollipop stick method. So that's something soft, in this case plastic or lollipop stick wood, into the carburetor and under the needle there, not under the needle itself but under the holder of the needle. And what you'll see is that when you open and close the throttle, these things move, and that tells you that they're out of sync. Look, because the one closest to us is moving first. So to adjust that, you simply either slacken or tighten the throttle cable, making sure that it's nicely seated, until you get them both operating at exactly the same moment. I don't know if you saw the video on the Kawasaki where I adjusted the mixture using this contraption. Now this replaces your spark plug, and you're able to look down here to see the colour of the combustion, and you do that by looking down this periscope type thing. There's a mirror here and you can look down. So I'm going to give that a go. I don't know whether it's suitable for 2 strokes, but I'll give it a try. So the last job now is to put the inlet rubbers on and then take it out for a ride. There we go, all back in place. I had wondered about pod filters, you know, K&Ns or something. I don't know whether they're actually worth it, what they give in power, I really don't know. But for me, I just don't like the way they look, if I'm honest. I prefer the sort of street look, really, stock look, I should say. But be interested to know what people think and how they get on with it. Anyway, time for a run. So we're back from our first run, and it didn't go quite as well as I was hoping for, to be honest. First sort of third quarter of throttle was fine. It responded really well. So my understanding is that means that the idle circuit and the pilot jets are okay. The next section of throttle, sort of from 3/4 to almost full, was where the problem was. It was really choking. You know, it wanted to clear its throat. It wouldn't rev through. And then full throttle, yes, it would run, but it was still a little bit hesitant. So what I looked at next was the needles. Now I understand that these control 3/4 to almost full throttle. So it's the position of this stop here controls the height of the needle and therefore the kind of mixture that's going in to the engine, as I understand it. So these were set at 1 from the bottom, and what I did, I moved them to 1 from the top. The other slight adjustment that I made was to the mixture. That system that I showed you, where I set the mixture up looking down at the blue colour of the flame in the combustion chamber, what I have found both on this bike and the Kawasaki is that is a good sort of benchmark, but it tends to make the motor run a little bit lean. So what I did was I just increased the richness of the mixture, as well as move these positions of the needle jets. So we're going to take it out for another run and see how we get on. Okay, well, I'm happy with that for the moment. There's always more fettling to do and fine tuning, but I think it's running quite well now. And I'm happy to take it out on a ride. If you've seen that video already, if you haven't, please check it out. Last thing to say really is thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and share. And coming up after this outro are a couple of pictures of the plugs, the colour and of the needles. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.